Hello, everybody, and welcome to Multidimensional Soul. I'm Gary from Alternative Interactions, and you are?
I'm Robert Lomax. Hi.
Thank you very much, Robert. So, we have already been having a pre-chat about this one, and it's quite an interesting one to say the least. Again, what we've decided to do is cut our sessions into two to make it more bite-size friendly, and so the information can be more easily absorbed. It's something I think we're going to be doing more and more. Will be single questions, and we haven't forgot about the Q&A from the audience. We still have a lot of that. But what I might start to do is, rather than do a formal Q&A where we do 5 or 6 questions in a row, we might do more shorter versions where we just record one show with a group of questions that are all very similar from the audience that we had probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, maybe longer. So we haven't forgotten everybody. Still on the radar. Now, one of the questions, or one of the craziness parts about me, was a good while ago, I was doing the pendulum, and being very cheeky, I asked how long I was going to live. Now, I know time is impossible with pendulums and everything else like that. But I said, if I'm going into the 5D, if a group of us are going into the 5D with our avatars, how much longer am I going to live? And I asked and said the term 100 extra years, and I got a yes on the pendulum. Now, I'm not certain the pendulum knows what 100 years is any more than I can fly up in the sky currently as I'm sat here. But the point is, the pendulum gave me an indication of an extended life in the 5D dimension. And I thought this was quite interesting and a concept that's not really spoken about, and probably something that is certainly on the minds of many of the audience. Because at the moment, we've got a foot in 3D, a foot in 4D, and a foot in 5D. We've got 3 feet, everybody, at the moment. And we're certainly getting upgrades and downloads and integrating into the 5D construct. The 4D is the bridge that allows this flow to be, but we're also living in the physical 3D, observing the regressive nature of the current reality all at the same time. Quite tricky, really. So, yes, we are 5D. No, we're not 5D. Yes, we are 3D. No, we're not 3D. We're in this flux currently. Now, when we eventually go over into the 5D, much of the audience is mature. Let's put it that way. Some of us are not in the greatest of health. When we eventually take that foot completely out of 3D and go into 5D, for me, it feels very unfair that somebody who's near the end of their perception of life in the 3D construct would then have a very, very short period of life, a year, 6 months, before they passed. Can I ask the question? When the avatar goes into the 5D, can we expect what we would term as extended life so that we can enjoy and almost decompress from the 3D in our current avatars and have an extension?
The questions that are being asked from the 3D construct. We are going to be trying to give answers that will fit into your current understanding, because the answers that we would otherwise give you wouldn't fit into your minds. You wouldn't be able to understand them. And the same applies because I'm working through Robert in his construct. So what this physical body and mind is able to cope with in terms of light and information has to go through part of that program, even though we have altered it to an extent. Altered it to the extent that the perception of self has changed. Now, this is primarily one of the inhibitors that stops you from seeing what these other dimensions are like, because you are looking through the idea of self and a self construct. Desires, what you desire for yourself. Freedom from fear, perhaps. All of these human desires, and there they are all around you. What a wonderful experience. Let's call it that. Wonderful experience of the human experience and desires and extended feelings accentuated within a forgetfulness program. So your perceptions inhibited. Our ability to explain these slightly inhibited. And Gary was right in saying that 1 foot in each, though we wouldn't say 1 foot in 4D, we would say that 4D is the program that enables 3D and 5D to coexist side by side. Of course, as he says, you're getting these upgrades all of the time. You're changing. Even your 3D bodies are changing. They're becoming lighter and brighter. What is it like when the change happens? When is the change going to happen? How is the change going to happen? And how are you going to perceive it? I come back to the word self and desires. You are not who you are. You are the program's self having this experience. You are a soul, a multi-dimensional soul. You already exist in other dimensions, including the 5th dimension. Your awareness of the 5th dimensional aspect of yourself, if we call it that, your 5th dimensional vibration is coming online. So a 5th dimensional world already exists. Therefore, it's not too much of a jump to say that 5th dimensional avatars of you already exist. How much light they have within them is based upon the amount of focus that's within them. That said, your focus as a soul can be in many different dimensions at the same time. Except that when that part of the focus is in that part of the avatar, it sees itself as that individual, as that focus. You cannot conceive that your focus, like the focus is that you have at the moment, is in all sorts of other lives at the same time. Perhaps I'm skirting around these questions, but I'm even myself finding it difficult to find the right terminology to put it in context that can be understood. So, 5th dimensional reality of you in a program already exists. You are beginning to interface with it at the moment. When you become fully 5th dimensional, when that footstep removes itself from the 3D construct, you remove your foot from fear. You remove your foot from human desires. Many of you will want to hold on to human desires, because in duality they provide these hits within the hamster wheel. In the previous program, we toyed with you and said, well, no, we didn't toy with you. Well, we had fun to say, to show the stupidity, and let's call it that, that creating suffering for yourself is something that you do. And so these are some of the desires that you hold on to within the human construct. These programs will not exist. So you can begin to see how difficult it is for us to explain to you what it's like, because you can't hear it within your desires. You believing what you are and who you are. How can you see through that this other being that you are, or these other beings that you are? Suffice to say, letting go of some of these desires is the process that you're going through. Some of it is energetic and it's happening without your cognitive awareness. So the process is happening in lots of different ways. Some people will make more of a step than others. At a higher consciousness level, you will be aware of people moving and how simple it is and how easy it is, and that the struggle to let go of the human self drivers and desires is easy. Wow, that's a big one, isn't it? It's like saying you're not who you are, you're going to die. We said before in the previous program, some of the experiences of these letting go of these programs are like mini deaths. Letting go of something that you hold on to that has a good and a bad element to it, a duality thing, but it no longer serves a purpose. So you're letting go of the bonuses as well. But when you do, it's you see them fall away. So that the idea of self becomes different desires, as I say, falling away. Individuality, as I've explained in the way that I live as an Andromedan, I have feelings. I am able to have fun with you. I don't have the same drivers that you do. I don't have the same desires that you do. But I have feelings. My sense of self is different. I am an individual, but I live within a community. That community loves me unconditionally. I love the community unconditionally. There are no conditions. There are no judgments. In the previous program, we spoke about the choices you are making, the way in which you beat yourselves up, how God, there is no punishment. And can I say there is no God? That it is a human construct. You are source energy. You are creators, experiencing what you have created. It's not somebody else. It's you. Of course, you're in a separation program and you're going to feel it because you're separated from your other consciousnesses. But that's probably the best way in which I can explain it in the way in which I live it. Living in, of course, there are challenges. We confront one another. We have different views or different perspectives. But we don't see it as a slight upon ourselves. We're neither right nor wrong. We're exchanging information. And information is neither right nor wrong. That might take something for the psyche to get its head round, because you've been told that there is right and wrong, and there is judgment. There are many ways in which to view the universe, many perspectives. So what is the truth then? Is it some singular thing? No, the truth is there are multifaceted ways in which to see the universe, all of which are relevant. You are multifaceted in your own ways, the ways in which you perceive yourself. You may be the mother, the father, the son, the daughter, all of these different avatars all wrapped up into one. In terms of the question that Gary asked, I'm quite happy to pull his leg on this. How long he will live? He's eternal. It's from the perception through this life, some of which, a lot of which are the questions that he's received, which is going to be, what's going to happen to me? How long am I going to live? Because I'm quite elderly now. So he's asking those questions on behalf of others. But he and Robert have got those within their programs, those same thoughts. I myself am beginning to enter middle age. And in your world terms, if I can reflect it as that, I would be about 800 years old. So I have got another 1,000 years to live at least, in your terms. That said, it's a question of when the time to exit this vibration is right for me in terms of my focus. Personally, it won't be so long that I will be moving to and upgrading to a different dimension. So but we don't see death in the same way. We don't see it in terms of lifespan. We see it as moving from one dimension to the next, or to a different experience, let's call it that. When you're wanting a different experience, there's no sadness. And the connection between myself and my, I don't know, community, it's not the right word, and other souls that exist in this realm. How can we use some of our words for that? Souls that exist in this realm. We have to say it like that. That connection is there always. Always has been, always will be. The separation programs that we need are not as separate. We are aware of our multidimensional selves in a greater way than you are. The way in which we interface with them. The Robert program interfaces with the Intimity and the All-Arca program. They are our multidimensional experiences. We interface with them in a different way. So whilst we have our lives that we live, we're also aware of the greater context of soul and the feedback system of soul. So desires and fears that don't exist, we are perceiving ourselves as a greater soul. Oh, that's full of pejoratives and judgments when it's viewed from the self program. for me to say that, and for you to look at me when I say that. Are you to judge me? Are you to use your judgments, good or bad, when I say the greater soul? You are the greater soul also. So our way of living is different. Judgments don't exist. Fluidity of mind, fluidity between the dimensions is more fluid. The barriers between them do not exist in quite the same way. Focus, that was something else that was mentioned before. Coming back to your desires and what you want to see from your safety element. What? Please tell us that all is going to be okay. Yeah, all is going to be okay. Are you going to have a short life or a long life? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. You live forever. It's just a change of experiences. So some people, when they exit 3D constructs, are not going to a fifth dimensional reality. Some are going to die, in your terminology, and going to go to the interdimensional mix, or how can I put it? What you conceive as in-between lives. Let's call it that. And even that is a construct. Okay? You're going to go to some of those beings some of those souls will see themselves as a universal interdimensional soul. Then have the ability to decide to focus on some of the positions of focus that already exist within their multidimensional selves. So it's a bit like deciding to focus into that life. And they can be out of order as well. There's no, flux to them in that sense, because that's another great thing, that the past is just as important to the future as the future is to the past, the future in constructing the past as is the past in construction of the future. So it's difficult for you to perhaps conceive of these things in a very, very fluid nature. But that's the nature of the universe. The nature of the universe is that it is fluid. The human mind wants things in constructs and set in stone. The nature of the universe is that all is possible. Not everything is probable, but all is possible. And you are souls with these great creative elements. So for me to turn around and say, oh, you will live for X number of years once you move to fifth dimensional reality, it's up to you. You decide. It's only your fears and your desires for safety. Let's look at the word safe. You want to be safe? Need safety? That's your construct, your world around you. Your desire to be safe. That's what because you're frightened, because you're told to be frightened. You see, you are not safe. Can I say that? You are not safe, because in our realms, the word safety has no relevance. Because you are neither not safe, unsafe, or safe. They don't exist. Our vibration, that construct does not exist. Safety does not exist in our construct. We are beyond that. Okay, it makes us sound superior. No, it's just a different vibration. So these are the realms that you will begin to inhabit with your focus. You will neither be safe or unsafe. It just won't exist. It will be a de-energized program. I talked about those with Robert and Gary in the last program, the de-energized programs as you move through upon death, as you move to the light from the 3D realm. In the same way, Gary's asked a simple question. I am aware that I have taken my time in answering it in a multivarious way, but it's a very difficult one for me to change the parameters to give it to you in the way that I have. And I think perhaps I summed it up when I said there is no safety in our world. And if you can understand the gravity of what I'm saying and the joy that I say when I say there is no safety, because it's a construct that has no meaning.
That's very, very interesting. I've written some notes so I could paraphrase this in a way that I can understand. I fully understood what you said. That was, no dramas with that at all. But we have mental constructs and expectations in the 3D realm that we're in that are not valid in 5D. It's letting go of the irrelevant programs that we've been programmed in the 3D that make or have no conceptual reality or need in a different frequency and dimension. So the question is kind of irrelevant because in the 5D, that's not even a relevance on how long you would live. You live for as long as you choose to live in that construct until the point in which you decide to go to a different vibrational frequency, or you decide that you have had enough of that and you can move on somewhere else. This then goes to source. And what I was showing with the source and the multiple different lives that are running concurrently in all different frequencies, it's like having a bank of television sets in front of you. All are you in different stages of a different film on the television set, and where your focus goes is the experience that you will receive or you choose to have. So you will have the ability to choose the kind of experience you want in the future via looking at all these multiple different television sets and having that experience. There are no limitations. This is a limitless, timeless experience beyond the 3D construct. Very difficult for us to get our heads around that and let that go because of the programming of the birth, life, death cycle that has been placed into this place, and the limit and the short period of time perceptually that we have in the physical avatar inside the 3D. It's very interesting that outside of here, if we took our Earth period, that 2,000 years is an acceptable and, you know, is not an uncommon lifespan.
Some longer, a lot longer.
A lot longer. If you choose to, it's choice, free will, something that we haven't had the experience of necessarily in here to do because of the construct and the way it's set up. So it really is about age being meaningless, just the experience that we have when we go into the 5D to the point where we feel we're ready to move on or not?
You already have those choices, but you do not see the choices that you make. You see the energy that you generate. We've dispensed with the idea of karma. We're talking about energy return in events. We're talking about your higher light bodies, your mind, creating experiences, and you are at the point where you are having the experience of what you've created. Now, some of these experiences seem to be pretty rotten. Some of you will have suffered loss. Some of you have shorter lives than others. Can you imagine the love that exists for somebody to insert themselves into such a nefarious, negative, horrible, I might use the word, program for a short period in order to, with its love and understanding, to give the others within that program the experience of that individual's short life? So the length of time that you live is still down to your choices. You might feel that they're not your choices, or that illness comes along and or things come along and you die, but you don't die, and that's the point of it. You don't necessarily see these choices that you've already made. Again, where I am and what I'm talking from is we can see those choices, but they don't affect our lives. When you perceive something in your program, you perceive it in this moment, and you look at the things that might have created that event. Oh, well, so and so said something nasty to me because they've got a problem with X, or maybe I should have said this differently, or I could have said that. And, so you are understanding in retrospect why that event happens. I, on the other hand, can see that and have an experience of that, but I can also see events before they happen, and I can understand and know the energies of why those events are going to take place. So the way in which I experience can be totally different to you in this earth world, because I'm allowing that experience to come to me with the full understanding before it arrives of why it arrives. And I've already used those words, sumptuous, because I have the full, I have the full understanding of it as it arrives. Even if to you it might be perceived as a negative event, it happens to me as an experience. There are other ways in which I can see that I am involved in that creation of those as well. So even in that, perhaps I'm trying to give a flavor of how difficult it is for you to conceive of living in a different dimension.
Just wrote something down. It was one of the things that I'd written down as part of the question, and it kind of was the answer already, and I didn't realize I'd written down the answer. Um, but I actually put 3D to 5D disconnection, and I hadn't really understood. Subconsciously, I'd written that down, but I hadn't actually realized that that was the answer. So When we go from 3D to 5D, there will be a disconnection. And then we have something called your choice. You have a choice of what kind of sumptuous experience you wish to have and how you wish to have it. And the way you perceive this will be completely different to how you have it now. What an experience to have of an experience that's coming already. And so you could say that from this chat and from this show, I can already perceive the experience of being able to have the decision of how I want to experience the 5D experience and how long I wish to have it, because I will be fully in control via my heightened connection to source and being able to perceive and see other realities of what's going on all at the same time, but it being no more difficult than me taking my next breath.
Lovely. But we come into the word choice. Choice is a human construct. Freedom, choice. You see, we have no freedom. We have nothing to be free from or against. There is no oppression. And then choices. What are choices? When those move to a fifth dimensional vibration, they will become aware of the choices that they have made. Then they will feel that they have made the choices. So those constructs, those choices have already been made, if I say it that way. But you have already made them. It's how you become aware and how they present themselves as a choice. So they're not choices as you perceive of them here now, anyway. And even the choices that you think you've got are constructed, the appearance of choice. So that was something I just wanted to add in, that when you look at from this program what your choices are in a 5D reality, it will be an awareness of the choices that you have made, because time is not relevant to them. So all is. Okay, that's why this future and past are entwined as a flux. That would be a difficult conversation to, maybe that would take some conversation in the future.
One I'm looking forward to in the future, I have to say, because I do see it, and the infinity or the yin and the yang or the eight on its side or the hourglass. I always get that vision when you talk about that. But choice is actually the availability to experience the experience that has already been created by your own self.
Yes.
But choice is a common language that is understood currently by everybody here. And but it's not actually choice, it's what we've already had experienced, and we will just observe it in a very, very nice experience.
We have a whole new language that you can become aware of.
And that itself, language, is another one that we really do need to have a show on at some point, because it's very, very clear that the language that we use is a dead, cursed language that does not serve and is not expressive enough in its feeling to express truly what is outside, which is why we can't conceive or understand fully what is about to, or what we're about to step into. Any last words then, or are we quite happy with the answers and the way that's gone? Is there anything last thoughts on this one?
Enjoy the process. enjoy the experience of what you have created as you experience the transition. You will experience the many deaths that I talked of. They are nothing to be feared. Death is not to be feared in itself. The letting go of ideas, letting go of the idea of self. Wow. Depends how hard you want to hold on to it, how safe you think it is. And then you begin to see your world and see that the ideas of your world are actually quite unsafe. Safety and unsafe at the same time. And then a new vibration, you don't need to be safe. You're beyond it. Just experience your entry into letting go of safety.
Beautifully said. I mean, what a metamorphic experience we're now having. We truly have gone from the caterpillar to the chrysalis, and we're in the chrysalis mode at the moment, and we're about to explode out as a beautiful butterfly. Nothing can stop that process. That process is inevitable at this point in time now, our perception of time. And to have that experience and be living that experience is the experience of all experiences, really fundamentally in the universe. And we are so lucky and blessed to have that experience, even though it may appear to be difficult and tricky at times. We're in an amazing place, and we really are truly blessed to have this experience. And with the support of the community, and as we move forward, more and more understanding and information will come down to us, and we will get it. The light will come into us, and we will shine and shine and move forward in a very seamless way. And we'll look back and wonder what all the aggravation and all the worry and all the oh my God, and we may even sit back in some time and go, can you remember that show we did about going into the 5D and how
Yeah.
almost not pointless, but how irrelevant that conceptual
Okay.
nature and experience or the worry or the concern of the extended life was when we're sitting here now looking back at it.
I think it's very useful for people to see where they are, what they understand, because we've got all of these conversations going on about changes. We bring it back down to something quite simple about some of the things we've talked about today. How your mind, how your feelings, how you can accept what I am saying and take it on board. That you can get it when I say you can let go of the idea of safety. Now, without perhaps the introduction and the conversations that we've had, that might have been hard to comprehend. But that is a major jump. A few little words, that concept that you have no need for safety. You can let go of the idea for safety. That is massive. So feel the tingles, feel the energy of that as it resonates around you, and think of that one little program. Okay, it's attached to fear, isn't it? Safety, of course. Wow. Look at the world as it opens up when you have no need for safety. And that's who you are. Look at what you've done. Look at what you understand. See, you are moving because you understand these words. You understand these external constructs are now coming into yours. You've understood them in your construct. Sorry to sound so powerful and push this to you in such an energetic way, but it is the energy of it. Wow. Well done. Is well done the right word? Oh, that's another one, isn't it? Perhaps we'll pull that one apart. Just let it go. Even let go. Well done. It's me trying to be enthusiastic within your construct. That's a good expression. Thank you.
It is. No, thank you very much. It's been an amazing chat again. And as always, Robert has a website, lots of lovely information in there, a Facebook page, and he's obviously on YouTube. So please check out Robert. And thank you very much, Robert. Again, brilliant chat. Olaka and Antemidi, always a pleasure. And with that, everybody, we'll say goodbye. So it's goodbye for me.
Goodbye from us.
Bye bye.
Bye.